JJ the CPA here. Hope you're doing well. So I just was on Bill Hauser's Lawyer Mastermind multi-seven-figure growth strategies show. And I wanted to show for that group some valid, wonderful information targeted for attorneys. I've been getting a lot of questions from attorneys about PPP and this gross receipts test. And so this will help everybody because I'm going to talk about, well, what do you include in the gross receipts? I'm first going to target that answer for attorneys. Now, if you'll bear with me, subscribers, for a minute, Bill Hauser has become a fast friend, and I wanted to put together a video literally while he's still doing the show. I had the pleasure of being the first panelist, if you will, and we were talking about the YouTube channel, and one of the things that we were talking about is putting content out there that in essence is raw, in the moment, filling a need, being helpful. And guess what? You'll probably see, I got a little sun up here. Most of the videos I shoot are in the evening, but I got a little sun up here. I got a TV over here, or I've got my video on. More just to show with what I was talking on Bill's show that it doesn't need to be perfect. People want the information. So let's get into the information. First for attorneys. So with PPP round 2, you have to meet a gross receipts test. It has to be that your gross receipts have been reduced by at least 25% in any one quarter of 2020 versus the same quarter in 2019. So when you're comparing that, the number one thing I'm hearing from attorneys is, well, what gets included in my gross receipts as an attorney when I'm getting a settlement, for starters, that is coming to my trust account? Do I include all of that? And the answer is no. That is not your income. Therefore, you're not going to include that in your gross receipts, that full settlement. The second question I'm getting from attorneys directly is that if you now get the attorney fee and you put that amount in your operating account, but now you're paying out a co-counsel fee, you're paying out what some will call a referral fee. So if you're in a situation where I'm just going to point out, Bill, I've got my housekeeper here. They were making a little noise. I just told Amanda, hey, shut the door. I'll explain a little bit more of this at the end for the subscribers that care. But my point is that when you're looking at when money comes out of your trust account, it goes in your operating account, and then you're taking that and you are paying somebody else. Well, the gross receipts is the full attorney fee that you put into your account. Now, I have a suggestion for that of what I tell my clients, but with that, to answer the question on gross receipts, it's going to be whatever the attorney fee is. So even though a portion of that attorney fee goes to another attorney by you taking it from trust and into your operating, you have, for then tax purposes, indicated that that's your gross receipts. And then for tax purposes, you're deducting what it is that you paid to the co-counsel or referral fee. And the point of that is that really what you should be doing in normal circumstances is when somebody has a claim to that case, another attorney, you should just be paying them out of trust. And then what you're pulling out of trust to your operating account, in essence, would be your net fee. Now, in some cases or in some states, that's not how that would work. So, of course, you're going to need to follow the rules of your bar in your state. But nonetheless, what needs to be counted for PPP purposes for gross receipts is your gross income for you. And for attorneys, that's your fee. And then if you pay somebody out of that, you don't get to deduct that when determining what your gross receipts are. So I know that some of that will blow some of the attorneys out of the water from meeting the reduction of their gross receipts for the 25% test to qualify for PPP 2. So what you're looking at now in general for those wanting to know, well, what else do you include or not include in gross receipts? It's actually really simple. The SBA came out with a guideline last week, and it's just this. What is it that you report for tax purposes? That is what is going to be how you determine what your gross receipts are. So when you look at the tax return, whether it's Schedule C, 1120S, a partnership, an 1120, you got line 1, A, B, and C. The SBA indicated that from your gross receipts, you can reduce it down by returns and allowances, but that would be only 1B. So every one of those tax returns, you have gross receipts as 1A. You have line 2, which is your amount of returns and allowances, which that is not anything related to attorneys, by the way. And then you have your quote unquote net. So it's not gross profit. It's not net. Your gross receipts is not net of anything that you pay out to somebody out of your gross receipts. What's not gross receipts is PPP-1 or the EIDL grant. The SBA made that clear. Any other grants that you receive, if they are taxable, well, that's not part of gross receipts of your business. If you're self-employed, then it only is going to include the gross receipts of that small business, of your sole proprietorship. Sole proprietors, self-employed, independent contractors, gig workers, if you're filing Schedule C, the only thing you're going to include in your gross receipts for that 25% test would be what you report on Schedule C. So that does not include unemployment. It does not include your PPP. It doesn't include revenue from other sources. So if you have a W-2 job and you have, in essence, a sole practitioner practice on the side, or you're in a set of circumstances that you have a second business, if you will, well, it would be the gross receipts related to that business, so on and so forth. So gross receipts don't mean deposits. Gross receipts don't mean every source. Gross receipts is for the business, okay? And then what is it that you're reporting for tax purposes, as in the basis? So most of us are cash basis. So you're going to report the gross receipts in this test as it relates to your tax basis. How do you know your tax basis? Well, right there on your tax return, either on, depending on what return you're looking at, but it's going to be bigger than Texas, either on page 1, 2, or 3. And it's going to say what's your basis. It's either going to be cash or accrual or other. You're going to see cash. Cash is when you receive it, well, that's your gross receipts. The other aspect that I'll mention to you is that on the application, the Form 2483SD, you have to indicate if you're getting a loan for PPP2 above $150,000, which quarter you were down at least 25%, and you need to list the dollar amount for that quarter in 19 and that quarter amount in 20 to show that, all right, here's the two amounts, and they will be able to, in essence, do the math on the application to see that, yep, that quarter and this dollar amount meet the test. Now, if you're $150,000 or less, you're not required to put that information in there, but you do still have to do the exercise of determining if you qualify for PPP2. Because while we don't have to provide documentation 150,000 or less of the fact that there is a 25% decrease, 100%, you will have to do that at the time of forgiveness. And I think there's going to be some real repercussions if you took PPP2, no matter the dollar amount, and you didn't meet that reduction of 25% or more from any one quarter from 2020 to 2019. So Bill, thank you for having me on your show. I did put this video together just to show and back up what I was talking about on your show of how quickly you can put together a video and how raw it really can be. All my lights were all over here. I moved them all over here. I'm shooting this on my iPhone 11. I do have a nice mic here. It's a Blue Yeti. I don't know, $150, $175 is probably the biggest investment. It's probably for these lights here. I don't know. I probably have spent, I've got a bunch of different lights, but I mean, I don't know, $200 on lights. I have a stand here that my phone's on. Might have spent, I don't know, $40 on it. And then it's coming with content that helps people. It's coming with content that is basically raw and ahs and ums. And I interrupted myself and I talked about how my housekeeper's here and the lighting. And there's Bill with, this is with John Fisher, who is a best-selling author. So I'm right in the middle of this. And what my hope is I'm going to upload this video, and then before the Lawyers Mastermind Multi-7-Figure Growth Strategy show is over to interrupt, if I could, Bill, to say, hey, Bill, guess what? I just threw a video up. And guess why else I'm doing it? And Bill already knows. Well, I'm trying to not only help Bill, help his wonderful organization, which I put a link in the body of this. I should have mentioned that earlier. But at the same time, guess what? I'm hoping Bill might say, hey, you know what? I like this video. It kind of is a good follow-up to what he was talking about. He came up with the subject matter for he and I to talk about, which is, well, what'd you do on YouTube and how'd you get to, at this moment in time, almost 54,000 subscribers, and talk through the process. So if you're an attorney, I want you to really consider looking into this program. And if anything, look for this episode. Amanda, I think it's episode 41. It's the one that came out, depending on when you're watching this. Today is the 12th of January in 2021, because things on YouTube last for a long time. So Bill Hauser, Lawyer Mastermind Multi-7-Figure Growth Strategies. He has thousands of attorneys across the nation that he helps. And what I like about Bill is he doesn't promote the cheesiness sometimes that is encouraged by other advertisers in the legal industry. And so he's bringing value. And so anyways, Bill, it was an honor to be a part of your show. It'd be great if you made it to here, or your people made it to here, to share this video. Because guess what? Now I'm getting helped even a little bit more than just being on your show. And I'm being, you could call it selfish or opportunistic. But guess what I did? Most people don't even make it to here in the video. And for attorneys, probably they stopped watching once I solved their problem. But guess what this whole video is about, even though I've added this extra commentary? The video solved questions. That's what I talked about on his show. When you're putting together content, you're doing it in a manner to solve a problem, to provide help. And the help that I provided was for attorneys that have had this question of what gets included in the gross receipts. Now, knowing that maybe more people than just attorneys are going to tune into this video, I then included the same information that those are not in the legal industry, and then what would their questions be that might be similar or stem from these same questions that attorneys have. Now, if you've made it to here, and especially if you came from Bill's program, do me a favor. I've probably provided more value than maybe any other CPA video that you've come across, especially if they were focused in on PPP. I've been piggybacking on the wonderful work that Bill Hauser's doing, and more putting this together to show that what I indicate on the show is how it works. But hey, do me a favor, hit subscribe, turn on your notifications. If anything, I'm putting out content related to PPP2, PPP1 forgiveness, the EIDL, the stimulus, and guess what else? Tax law changes, providing information. My biggest client base is attorneys. So for those attorneys that are tuning in, do me a favor, subscribe. I'd love it to see. So Bill told me he put together a PPP video using my same keywords. He got 20,000 views and 2,500 new subscribers. So Bill, I'm hoping to get the same, because I'm going to use the same keywords and I'm going to use your name, and I appreciate that. And let's see, as maybe a little competition, how much you could promote this video to have at least 20,000 views and maybe another 2,500 subscribers. So I'm going to start it right now at 54,000 subscribers, and let's see where we're at maybe in the next couple of days, and I'll report back, Bill. All right, hey, thanks for tuning in. Love it if you subscribe. More videos to come, especially tonight. All right, don't you ever forget, you've never met a CPA quite like me.